Today on episode 254 of Typical Chicago Fans, we have Sinkers and Floaters, the TCF Sports Minute, Diamond Talk, our NBA playoff preview, and a TCF top 3 of announcers. Let's roll. Hello and welcome back to Typical Chicago Fans, brought to you by our incredible sponsor, Connect Roasters Coffee. Today is episode 254 down here in the Content Cave. Make sure to follow us on X at typical_Chicago. Head to Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. Give those pages a like as well. Head on over to our YouTube page for all of our content in video form. Make sure you subscribe there. Wherever you get your podcast, we are there as well. So subscribe, rate, review, 5 stars. Send to a friend. You know how it goes. Wherever you get your podcast at. You can find me on X at BoomyTCF, and of course the man sitting to my right, Zach at ZAlilia_TCF. Zach had a nice little spring day today. We got out, did some bro shopping, and
we did some bro shopping.
We shopped for snacks and cheap clothes.
Yeah, we went to Chili's, which was amazing.
Love we talked about this forever when we were leaving DeKalb. We are very, very fortunate that there's not a Chili's down in Peru.
Too many chips.
We chipped out.
We chipped ourselves before we got our food, but we also did eat our food. But yeah, it was. I think the closest Chili's is DeKalb.
Yeah, DeKalb and Rockford are about probably the same drive, but
very good.
That triple dipper.
But we should have probably ate and then went shopping. It would have helped a little bit.
Big time.
But we went to places where you really weren't able to spend a ton of money.
I bought like 6 bags of stuff at, what was it, a Dollar Tree. I ended up with 6 bags, $19.90.
Yeah, so
gotta love it.
When you go to places where you know you can't really spend money even if you wanted to.
Yes.
Then it's a good place.
It's acceptable.
Ollie's. Shout out Ollie's.
Shout out Ollie's. Yeah, we hit Ollie's. We hit Dollar Tree. And, of course, we had to hit Ross for lunch, which felt like it was abandoned.
Well, yeah, that's usually
slim pickings. But
kind of how it goes.
You picked up a nice Nike belt. I got a Callaway golf polo.
Yeah,
you did all right.
You could have gotten 2 for the price of a regular one.
That is true. We did pretty good. So
we are, what would you say, bargain shoppers?
We're bargain hunters. That is for sure. Nice weather out. It's a little windy. Can't complain too much.
The
but
wind is
that
insane,
wind is
though.
brutal.
It's brutal. It's like 25 to 30, and it's just not even worth going golfing. That's how bad it is.
My poor son, he's going to be 2 this weekend. Shout out to Roman for his 2nd birthday. But he's not a small 1/2-year-old, but he's got knocked over by the wind twice in the last week.
I've almost gotten knocked over by the wind. So
yeah, it's not easy out there for anybody, especially if you're 3 feet tall and only weigh 35 pounds.
Especially when you live out in the country where there is nowhere to stop the wind when you go outside.
Let's jump into things. As always, we've got sinkers and floaters. My sinker this week is Will Smith. I don't know if you saw the reports that came out this week, but Will Smith apparently has a new rap album. And it's probably as good as you could imagine because it sold 238 physical copies in the United Kingdom.
Which is not that crazy to think because who's actually buying the physical copies nowadays? But yes, I understand.
238 is insane.
I thought they usually went off the digital numbers.
Even the digital numbers was less than 1,000.
Well, what do you expect? He's not like, I mean, he had that one, he had probably, 2 big songs? The Wild West song.
Wild West, Big Willie, or the album Big Willie Style, Miami.
Yeah, with the one with the car wash and stuff like that.
But, I mean, what a fall from grace. He goes from obviously one of the best actors of our generation to smacking Chris Rock across the face.
Yeah, that probably didn't help the sales.
But why is he going back? People didn't like his music in the 90s.
Some people had too much money.
Yes, that and too much time.
Yeah, I think maybe you should worry about acting.
I wonder if he can't get hired.
Well, probably, but he has so much money, why would it matter?
Yes, exactly. But yeah, less than 1,000 digital copies, I believe, was the
if I'm that rich, you're not going to see me.
Yeah, exactly.
My sinker. Oh, you're not going to like my sinker.
Oh, boy.
Well, maybe people won't like my sinker. It is taking cell phones to major events. I think that it is actually a cool thing, maybe not to take cell phones to major events because you actually everyone has to focus. No one can just sit on their phones. I know, like, regular games or whatever, but like a World Series Game 7. How cool would that be if no one could be on their cell phone? Or just every major, you couldn't be on your cell phone. Everyone had to just watch what was going on and focus on that.
Now, okay, I think we could come to a healthy compromise here because I have gotten this from my mother. You know how it is. You've traveled with me. I like taking pictures of places.
You can bring in a camera.
I like taking videos, of stuff, and especially like when we're doing like the TCF road trip we did. I like being able to do that kind of stuff. I think that's an old fuddy-duddy take that I don't like.
I think it's too new school that everyone has to have their phone because you have to know where you are at all times. You have to say, hey, I was at the Masters. Here's a picture of me. Hey, I was at the World Series. Here's a picture of me. I think nowadays it's just everything is you have to validate where you have been.
Yeah, I like that.
I don't like it. I just don't really care that much.
Yeah, fair enough.
Everyone has to put it on their Instagram story or
I do think that there's, like I said, a healthy compromise. I feel like we could do a thing where like you get, I don't know if it's a pouch, but it's open for like the first through the fourth inning of a baseball
And I'm not
game.
saying every game. I'm saying like major events.
Or
like
even
the Masters was pretty
Sure.
cool. Or there's only 4 majors every year for golf.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. Or the World Series Game 7 or like the clinching games of World Series or clinching games of the Stanley Cup. Stuff like that. It doesn't have to be like game 140 of the baseball season.
Sure. I think there's definitely like
There's
I don't disagree with you.
I'm not saying it has to be all the time, but I just feel like everybody has to. Some people just go to games just to take the picture and for people to know that they were there.
I like being able, like, oh, hey, I was at the Mets game.
Yeah.
When I was in New York. I maybe like, all right, guys, maybe first 5 innings, and then you have to put it in this pouch and it seals it to the 9th. I could get down with that.
And I also would say you could bring a camera too.
Yeah.
Because then you're not sitting there on your phone all the time watching your phone or looking on your phone while a big event is going on. Fair.
I do think people need to live in the moment a little bit more. I do a really bad job sometimes at home, but like I feel like I've done better. Like I used to be a guy. I go to a ton of concerts, right? I used to always make sure I took videos, and then I realized going through my Google Photos, I'm like, this is taking up an entire gigantic section of my phone. Who cares?
And no one's going to see it.
No one cares.
You've already seen it.
Yes, and not even to mention like. Granted, we have our disagreements about iPhones and Samsungs, but like, think of where we were 20 years ago with camera technology. Even as good of a phone that we have now, like, it's a concert. It's louder than hell. You're not getting a great video with great audio quality. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just stopped doing it. I won't take videos at I'll take a one picture of each band that I see.
Because like we've been to comedians,
yes,
where they've taken your phone because they don't want. Oh, not taking your phone, but you have to
get
put
the
it in
seal pouch,
pouch, and you can't open it until the
definitely
end.
made me enjoy Bill Burr.
Yeah, you have to focus on it. You can't just go on Twitter or Instagram or Facebook and stuff like that.
Yep.
You actually have to focus on the event and the people around you.
I
know
hate
it's
it.
kind of an old take, but. I'm not saying it has to be for every single sporting event.
Sure.
But I think like the Masters, how there was a cool photo of everybody that was going crazy when Rory won.
Not a cell phone.
No one had their cell phone. I'm not saying you can't take like a camera, but there's a difference between being able to take like a few pictures than sitting on your phone taking Instagram stories and stuff like that.
I'm kind of with you on part of that. Let's move into our floaters. Mine is something I've talked about on this show for a very long time, and that is the podcast The Dollop. I obviously am a big history buff. I'm a big stand-up comedy fan. We've been over this a million times. During COVID, I had a lot more free time, and I started just finding – I just literally one day Googled history podcasts. And the show called The Dollop came up, and it had 2 comedians, Gareth Reynolds from Milwaukee and Dave Anthony. And so I had just found, like, Dave Anthony reads a story to Gareth, who doesn't really know what's going on. And then they're 2 comedians, so they just make fun of every crazy thing that happened in this story. It's how I learned of my favorite baseball player now, Rube Waddell. But anyway, so I jump in at episode like 300 or 400. I can't remember exactly. But it was a 2-parter on Ronald Reagan, and the special guest was Patton Oswalt. And I loved it. I was crying laughing. So I was like, hey, they're this far in. I'm going to go all the way back to the beginning and start at 1 and work my way up. I caught up yesterday.
Yeah, that's one of those things
678 episodes.
What are you going to do now? Now you just have to keep up with that podcast and then you've probably been listening to 2 to 3 podcasts a day of
No,
it.
not even. It's not even one I listen to every week. It's so like this is way too deep in my OCD brain, but like I have my automatic shows I listen to like Monday through Thursday, right? And some of them will have like a little lingering effect into the weekend. This is my weekend podcast. So like basically once all my regular weekday
like walking
shows,
around the house and stuff like that.
mowing the yard, stuff like that. Like I'll knock out 3 or 4 episodes working on the yard.
You'll have to work on the schedule now.
I know. So they're in my schedule. I've got this already planned out. Don't worry. I've listened to a couple episodes of a podcast called History That Doesn't Suck. So I'm actually going to go back to the beginning and start that podcast all over. And just kind of see how long it takes me. But I did this in just under 5 years. I started in like June of 2020, 678 episodes.
That's insane to think about, that you have spent that much time on it, which, I mean, we've all listened to podcasts like that, but usually you listen to it as it goes.
Right.
You don't go back and do that. So you've been every other weekend or whatever, you've had to go back and find this podcast, and now you are all caught up. It almost feels like an accomplishment.
And I wish, so like I used to do my weekly podcast that I listen to every week on Spotify, and then back when Google Podcasts existed, I had all my extra ones that are just like, if I have downtime or the weekend or everything else is caught up. Google Podcasts went out of business like 2 years ago. So
we have too much to listen to.
Yes. So I'm looking right now. History That Doesn't Suck has 177 episodes. So I will be starting that probably this week. So I'll keep an update when I get close to catching up.
See how many years that takes you.
Only 177. This should take me like a year.
Yeah, let's see. Well, you are on a timer now.
That is true.
My floater is the Amish rebuilding stuff.
They're incredible.
There was a story that the Amish have been rebuilding things so fast that the National Weather Service is unable to determine like the strength of tornadoes.
Jeez.
Like they have started rebuilding and gotten buildings back up, like farms and houses, up so quickly before the national weather can come in and try and see how severe the storm was.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Shout out to the Amish.
Yeah, it says that there was parts of tornadoes in the Midwest that were severe, and that they were in recovery mode so quickly that the National Weather Service meteorologists couldn't determine the exact strength of the forces of nature.
That's awesome.
Because they wouldn't be able. They would come in and be like, "Oh man, well, was this broken or was that?"
Yep.
And they go so quickly.
That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, I think everybody knows like the jokes of, like I think it was on Family Guy where they talk about building, barns and stuff like that. But that's really incredible that they're working faster than the National Weather Service. So shout out to the Amish. Great bread, great jams. The Amish do a lot of things great.
Yeah, it's just crazy though. Like the second something happens, they are right on it.
If you haven't tried Amish apple butter, you haven't lived yet.
No. But yeah, it's just something happens, the whole community comes together.
Gotta love it.
And they get it done.
Gotta love it. Gotta respect it. Shout out to the Amish. Let's move in to the TCF Sports Minute. We're going to start with one that is literally ending as we speak. The Blackhawks are playing in their final game of the season as we record this on Tuesday night. Going to finish either 24, 47, and 11 or 25, 46, and 11, somewhere around there. 24, 25 wins, 59 points as we record. Either way, they're going to be the second worst team in the NHL with the second highest odds of getting the number one pick.
It does not matter.
Nope.
Either way, they're happy the season is over with. Pat Maroon is officially retired after this game. And we're on to next season where hopefully we will have a better season. Fortunately,
though, they have been playing a heck of a lot better. I mean, we've talked about it a little bit every week, but, I mean, you got to at least feel like you finished the season on the right foot.
Yeah. They brought up, last night they had somebody make their rookie debut.
Yep.
So they're always having guys come up from Rockford.
Yep.
And they've brought a lot of guys up. Yeah, you got to be happy about that. You look to the future, the rebuilding is officially starting.
Well, and like you said, with the young guys that have impressed here the last month, you go out and you've said it a million times. You go out and you get a couple free agents, and you're then in the mix. Like at least to fighting to get into a playoff spot, which is a heck of a lot better than being the worst or second worst team in the NHL for.
You just want to look
5 years,
3 or 4 years down the road, and we have wasted Bedard.
Yeah, but I feel like that just happens with. When you're that bad, like
I'm just saying though, you want to get it going.
Oh,
you don't
absolutely.
need to be this bad every single year.
Yep, you got to go out and spend some money. Moving to the other side of the United Center, the Bulls are in the play-in. They were the 9 seed. If this was how it should be, they would have not made the playoffs. But they get to host the Heat. That is happening Wednesday night at the United Center. They will face the loser, correct, of Atlanta and Orlando. Orlando, as we recorded, is at halftime, 61-47. I'll just go ahead and say it now. They're going to play Atlanta.
They
Friday.
That's why it would have been huge for them to get to the 8 seed, because then all you got to do is win 1 game, and you're done. You got to win 2 games, and then you get the 1 seed.
Yeah.
So either way, it doesn't really matter. I think that this play-in is kind of stupid.
It is stupid.
I just think that it's another way of. It's like the playing games for like the NCAA tournament. Like if you're the 16th seed, you have no chance against these. Especially in the East.
Yeah, we've had
the West might be a little different because the West is a little more competitive. The bottom of the East is way, way worse than the middle. No, than the bottom of like the teams that didn't make the playoffs in the West would make the playoffs in the East.
Yeah, I was looking at that when we were. So Miami was the last team to make the playoff, 37-45. It's not as big of a difference as it has been because the last team that didn't make the playoffs in the West was 36-46.
Just the middle of the West was a lot more competitive.
Yes.
It came down to the last day.
Yeah.
And I think that it's another way that they can kind of promote the end of the season, because the first round is always so like it falls off.
Yep.
In the first round, you usually don't get any really good series nowadays.
Now, I will never. I agree. I do think it's stupid. However, I will never be one to complain about basketball. We're going to finish recording this, and I'm probably going to go upstairs and watch.
Well, yeah, and
basketball.
You always want to make the playoffs or whatever. At this point, you're not going to want them to lose.
Yeah.
I just think that the process is kind of crazy that a 10 seed has a chance to make the playoffs.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. Especially like the Bulls are the 9 seed, and they're still going to finish with like probably the 11th or 12th pick.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And
like
they might make the playoffs.
That kind of grossens it up a little bit in my mind anyway. But it is what it is. We move on, and hopefully at least some competitive games that I can actually watch. So
yeah, let's hope.
Moving on to the Bears, make some big signings as they get ready. Draft is next week. I believe they re-signed Kyler Gordon. Is that who it was?
Yes, they did. He is now the highest paid slot corner.
Is that going to affect the possibility of drafting another corner?
No, I don't
You don't think so?
I just think they wanted to make sure that they had him. He was their best corner last year, slot corner. And it's just nice to, like I said to you today, it's nice that the Bears are spending the money. It's 3 years, $40 million extension. So he's 25 years old right at the moment. He is tied to the Bears until the 2028 season.
Yep.
It's something that we don't have to worry about here for the next few years. And it's just nice to see the Bears actually spending some money. And, yeah, it's just one less thing you have to look at in the draft or worry about. I mean, you still could look at that position, but you know that spot's filled for at least the next 3 years.
And like you said, when we were out earlier, the continuity, right? You're not replacing faces every
And people know on the team that if you play well, you're going to get an extension.
Yeah.
It hasn't always happened with the Chicago Bears. You haven't always known that they're going to spend money.
All right, so we will record a podcast before the draft, but we're sitting like 9 days out from the first night of the draft. Bears are sitting at the 10 spot. Who do you want?
O-line, D-line. What we need.
I have noticed in a lot of the mock drafts, Calvin Banks, who we've talked a lot about, the offensive tackle, from Texas has slipped down quite a bit. I still think, I'll be very honest, if the Bears take him at a little bit of a stretch, I'm not sure why. I don't follow it that close. Calvin Banks is a hell of an offensive lineman.
Yeah, because at this point they have kind of best available at
Do you
that
want
time.
Genty?
I don't think he's going to be there. At this point, I don't think
so,
he's
yeah.
going to fall.
What's
to the
crazy
Bears.
is that I think back in February, we said that the Bears should draft Abdul Carter. He's going to be gone out of the top 3.
Oh, yeah. It's just
Abdul
how it
Carter
happens.
is a dog.
A lot of the quarterbacks have kind of fallen out of the top 10.
Yep.
We'll see where Shador goes and stuff like that. Cam Ward will definitely be the number 1 pick.
Yep.
But other than that, I don't know when quarterbacks will be taken in this draft.
We saw one today when we were at lunch. Jackson Dart in the first round.
Yeah.
What?
You just never know. It's just this draft is going to be up in the air.
Yeah. I feel like this is a draft where you have to do your due diligence to make sure that you get the right guy, because I feel like it's going to be a lot of boom or bust.
Yeah, and if you're the Bears, you got an offensive line to fill, which you've fixed a little bit, but you still need to do more to.
Correct.
Defensive line. I've seen that there was a tight end that they were looking at. I just don't think that they need to go in the first
But imagine
round.
having Cole Kmet and a first-round rookie at the tight end spot. I mean, and I think
At least they're in a spot where they have a lot of options.
For
they're
sure.
not just looking for a quarterback anymore.
For sure. It'll be interesting. We'll break it down a little bit more next week as we get closer to the draft. Moving into the Chicago Sky, the WNBA draft was last night. The Sky had the 10th, 11th, 16th, 22nd overall pick. They go with, I need to figure out how to pronounce this, but Aja Sivka out of Slovenia. What did you say they call her? The
Lady
Doncic. I do have a question, though. 6'4" wing, only averaged 7.6 points per game.
Well, yeah, but
Granted, it was only 21 games.
yeah, so
I mean, I want to say she's only 19. She's not going to be 20 until the season's over.
yeah, so they got 4 picks in the first round.
No,
Sky did.
No, it was not the first round. There's only 12 teams in the draft.
Oh wait, okay.
So they had.
Never mind. They had 4 picks overall.
Then they go and take Haley Van Lith out of TCU.
I didn't think about that.
Yeah, there's only 3 rounds. Haley Van Lith, obviously, probably the second most recognizable name in that draft last night. Obviously, she got picked at 11th for a reason. But I think this is, especially someone who is as recognizable, as marketable, when you're trying to grow a women's sport the way that the Chicago Sky and the WNBA are. She's not Angel Reese level of fame, but she's going to put some people in the seats.
And they've also played together, her and
Yes.
Angel Reese, so that helps a lot going down the road. But yeah,
she's, I believe, the only female that's ever gone to the Final Four of the Elite Eight with 3 separate schools.
which is kind of tough to do.
Well, yeah, obviously, but clearly, she can play. It'll be interesting to. I think the thing with her is, from what I've watched, is she has a great game. I don't know how great it's going to translate into the WNBA, but if she can figure out a way to get her shots off at a faster clip in the WNBA, she's going to be all right. She's going to be very good, but there is a little bit more potential there that she's got to increase the speed that she can get that shot off.
Yeah, and that's what the WNBA and the Unrivaled is for.
Exactly.
And I think that having a good point guard would help the post.
Yep.
And Angel Reese.
In the second round, they also pick up Maddie Westbeld out of Notre Dame, so a little bit of a more local name out of Notre Dame there. And then they also picked up Alicia Coulibaly from Texas A&M. So they start here really soon.
Yeah, that's what's crazy about the WNBA draft. That goes right in from college basketball, WNBA draft, and the season starts very quickly.
Yep.
You do not have much time.
The Chicago Sky play their first game on May 2nd.
Yeah, that's
crazy.
Like
2 weeks from now.
I think that they rush it a little bit, but they try to, what would you say, keep the
momentum.
Yeah, the momentum from the season, so you don't forget about it.
Do you know who they open the season with? I think it's an exhibition game.
Is it Brazil?
Brazilian national team.
I know that I think
that's cool.
A bunch of the teams are playing.
Yeah, it seems like they're
teams.
kind of bouncing around and playing some teams. But I'm very interested. I mean, think about this. I mean, they have Angel Reese. They will have Cardoza and Haley Van Lith. I mean, at least something entertaining to watch. And
well-known names.
Yes, absolutely. Moving on, we'll go to the Cubbies next. The Cubbies sit at 11-8, first place in the National League Central, game and a half up on the Reds and the Cardinals right now. Blew one on Monday night, but I mean, we were pissed off about it in the car, but that cannot take away the fact that they just took 2 of 3 from the Dodgers at Chavez Ravine. One of them on the ESPN, Sunday Night Baseball. That was a great weekend. Yes, the bullpen blew it on Monday, but you've got to take the positives. They're in we've talked about this a million times. April schedule for the Cubs is
insane.
Brutal, and they're 11-8.
They have officially been put in the top 5. I think they're the 5th ranked team in baseball.
Yep.
And the top 2 teams are the Padres and Dodgers, who has pretty much all they played.
Yeah.
And the Rangers are up there. And as of next week, the Cubs play the Dodgers 2 more times, and then they'll be done with it. So that shows you how much they played the Dodgers. And I think after this series, they're officially done with the Padres, too.
Yep.
So they played the NL West, which is unbelievable right now. And they played a lot of good teams, and they are 11-8. But if you look at their schedule, I would be happy to get out of April with a 500 record.
Yeah, and you just keep winning series. And yes, they blow one. They're about to, first pitch is about to happen.
Guess what?
Here.
They made moves. They made some moves. I've seen Daniel Palencia has been called up.
Yep.
Luke Little's been called up. Matt Shaw has been optioned to AAA. Was he hurt?
Batting $182.
I said no. I had not seen him play a lot.
And who was it? Is making a rehab start this week? Assad.
Assad is making a rehab start because unfortunately Justin Steele is out for the season.
That's the big news of the week.
I think Tommy John is what they said. So that is. I mean,
that sucks.
You think about. He won't even be back to begin the season next year.
It'll be right around there. Tommy Johns are recovering faster and faster.
Yeah, but you just don't want to push it too quickly.
For sure.
It's one of those injuries.
Here's what sucks is he probably needed it at the end of last season.
Yeah, and I think I was very confused when it came out that he was hurt, but that means that he had been trying to push it off to begin the season, and maybe he should have just dealt with it. Before trying to push off. But I understand as a player, you don't want to have to do Tommy John because you're screwed at that point.
Well, not even that. He's 29. He's got to have a contract coming up here soon, too.
So, but I think that you got to go get it fixed up and take as much time as you want because you don't want to rush something like that back. It's definitely not something you want to rush. But it does suck in general that we won't have, going into the season, probably our best pitcher.
Yeah, that's tough. Now, I will say this. I think if everybody, I know it's a lot to ask that everybody else kind of picks up the slack, right? Shota's looked fine. I mean, I've got no complaints there. But I will say this. Matthew Boyd has looked absolutely phenomenal.
Ben Brown has pitched well, too.
Yes.
He's had some tough starts, but that's just how it's going to go. At some point, they're going to bring Cade Horton up. And see what he can do.
Matthew Boyd has a 1.59 ERA as of right now. 17 strikeouts, 7 walks.
The starting pitching is not the problem right now for the Chicago Cubs. It is the bullpen. And that has been the problem for the Cubs the last few years, unfortunately.
Here's one of my biggest problems. I mean, Presley, who is one of the biggest pickups, I have not been impressed with. I know we're only 19 games in. I'm trying not to make mountains out of molehills, but Presley just hasn't done it for me either.
No. And they threw out Morgan last night, who I think was hurt before he pitched last night. He came out of the game. It almost seemed like the umpire noticed something wrong with him and kind of called out. And then they made the trainer come out. And then it seemed like Craig Counsell made him get out of there.
And Nate Pearson couldn't find the strike zone if you gave him.
Ethan Roberts pitched pretty well. He kind of got put in a bad position. But... And then, Presley, who is supposed to be our closer. We just cannot find a closer who is not going to give us a heart attack. I mean, Presley has been in spots where he has the bases loaded, 2 outs and stuff like that. He has not had an easy save this whole season.
Not at all. Like you said, got the Padres the rest of this week and then coming home to play Arizona. So keep winning series.
Yeah, and Arizona's pretty good, too. I mean, they're playing tough teams. But, hey, get them out of the way and start playing this division soon.
You said it earlier. The NL West right now, The leader is the Padres at 14-3. The Giants are in second place at 12-4, and the Dodgers are in third place currently at 12-6.
The Dodgers were like minus 400 or 350 to win the division this year,
and the Diamondbacks are 9-7.
It's shaping up to be a very good division.
Yeah, it's
and the Cubs have
loaded.
pretty much just played the NL West.
Yeah,
They played them and the Rangers. And they played the A's in Sacramento. So, I mean, they've had a very tough schedule to start the season.
Absolutely. Moving to the White Sox, 4-11, still in last place in the AL Central, 5.5 games back. They are playing the A's during the week this week and go to Boston next weekend, but took 2 out of 3 from the Red Sox, who were doing a lot of trash talking before that.
Almost got that sweep.
Almost.
But it's just one of those seasons where you win a series and you're going to be happy.
Yes, absolutely. And
it started off tough. It's going to be a tough season. But when you have guys coming up, that is going to be the highlight of the season.
Yeah, I can't remember the name of the kid they just called up and is playing really well.
Meredith?
Yeah, playing very well. And then also the only other story I want to talk about the White Sox. What's did you see the ownership stakes came out?
Reinsdorf does not have the highest percentage of ownership now.
Yeah, his son does.
Well, yeah, and then
Matt Ishbia.
Yeah, the guys who own like the Suns, they have the highest amount.
Yeah. No. I'm pretty sure his son has the highest amount.
Well, I thought 25% to the Ishbias.
Yeah, but his sons have 35%.
Oh, I did not see that.
Yep. I'll double check it right here. But yeah, no, you were right. Justin and Matt Ishbia have 35%. Michael and Jonathan Reinsdorf have 30. Jerry has 20, and 8 or so other limited partners 15%. So
if you're a White Sox fan, it's going in the direction that you want it to.
Yeah. Yep.
You want Jerry to have less and less of the ownership going forward. And if you're him, why would you want to deal with that too?
In the same breath of that, like Jerry and his sons still, those 3 combined still have more than Ishbia. So it doesn't really matter.
But it's nice to know that there's new names in there.
Right.
And at some point,
it'll be very interesting after Jerry does pass away. Does that 20% go to his sons, or does it come up for sale to Ishbia?
Yeah, or if they just want to get rid of all of it. I mean, do they want to have to deal with the White Sox and the Bulls at the same time
when they can't run either organization?
Well, yeah.
So,
and if you're Jerry Reinsdorf, just go live the rest of your life and have some fun. I mean, maybe it's fun for him.
It's got to be fun,
but
it can't be that much fun. They're
running 2 organizations that aren't doing great. Cannot be fun.
Yeah, until you look at your bank account. That's fun.
I mean, either way, you're in it or you're not, you're going to have a lot of money.
You know what is fun, though, Zach?
Yeah.
Starting your day off with Connect Roasters coffee. I promise you it's the best coffee around that you are going to find. Ian Happ drinks it every day. 3 Gold Gloves. Ever heard of him? He's not drinking Folgers every day.
1,000 games played in Major League Baseball.
If he was drinking Folgers, maybe 100. But he's drinking Connect Roasters coffee. So make sure that you drink Connect Roasters coffee. Make sure you check out their website, connectroasters.com. Follow them on X at Connect Roasters. Get yourself over to Bourbonnais. Visit the storefront. Get you some Connect Roasters coffee in your life. So as always, a big shout out to our friends over at Connect Roasters. Let's bounce into some Diamond talk. I know we're 25 games into the baseball season, give or take. But, college basketball just ended, so baseball really just began. So we're going to go down and we're going to predict the winners of each division in baseball. Let's start in the American League East, and we're not 25, we're like 15 games into baseball season. Right now, the Yankees are in first place by a half a game. Give me the Blue Jays.
I'm going Blue Jays, too.
All right.
I don't like the Yankees. And I think with not having Stanton is going to really hurt them. And I know they had the top 2 home run hitters in the league right now. But I just think that this Blue Jays team is good. And they have a newfound,
Not even that. You haven't even talked about Garrett Cole.
But what I'm saying
Garrett Cole
for the Blue Jays is they got Vlad locked up for the next however many years. I think that's huge for this season and going forward that the future of this team.
I agree.
And it's always fun. the Blue Jays. I don't like the Yankees. I don't like the Red Sox. So I would just like to see the Blue Jays win too.
And I think them picking up Santander in the offseason, that was big too. I'm a big fan of the Blue Jays. Hate the Yankees as well. As long as the Yankees or the Red Sox don't win the division.
Yeah, Garrett Cole had Tommy John too,
Yeah.
which, I mean, pitchers nowadays are really quick to have that, which is probably good so you don't wait and have to do other stuff for it. But yeah, that's huge for them.
Big time.
Especially the contract that he got. And Stanton too. I mean, he's dealing with both elbows pretty much hurting, which is not good for a power hitter.
Never a good sign. Moving to the AL Central, the Tigers are in first place right now. You sticking with the Tigers?
No, I'm going the Guardians.
Me
I would
too.
love to see the Guardians take over, and I just don't think the Tigers can sustain all season.
See,
I think
and
it's gonna
like the
it's gonna be a
Tigers.
tough. I think they could maybe make a wild card spot, but it's going to be. I think those two at the top of the division fighting it out for it.
I agree. I like both of these teams, but I think I like the Tigers more. But I just feel like they got some of the experience. They were a wild card team last year. I believe they won the wild card.
I do think that Detroit does have the better pitching.
Yes.
But Guardians, I think, offensively are better.
I agree. I think that'll be a very close race.
Yeah,
there
and it's
in that
whoever
division.
can beat up the bottom of the division
the most.
yeah.
Yeah, because the Twins are awful.
Twins are awful. White Sox are not very good. And then the Royals are just right there.
Yep. Very middling. Moving to the AL West, I know the Angels are technically in first place, but I've got to take the Rangers. I think the Rangers are still phenomenal.
This is creepy. I had this written down, but I also had the Rangers.
Now, okay, so if we're going
to I just don't think the Angels can sustain doing this all
they
season.
cannot.
And the Rangers are so good. We've seen them play the Cubs. That lineup is unbelievable,
Yes.
Especially offensively. I mean, they have a bunch of good hitters. It's really going to be tough to face them all season. I just don't think the Angels can sustain how good they are playing all season long.
Not even that with the Rangers. They have two guys that are very they have Kumar Rocker, who's a name we've heard. I know Jack Leiter's hurt, but we're talking about two guys that were very high draft picks for a reason that kind of breezed their way through
I hate to be
the
this
minor
way.
leagues.
I don't think a team with Kyle Hendricks in your starting rotation is going to make the playoffs. I hate
Kyle
to be
Hendricks
this way.
pitching his rear end off.
He
right
is,
now.
but it's just that for him to sustain that all season,
Yeah.
it's going to be tough. I love Kyle Hendricks, but you see what he kind of did at the end of the season last year. He can't be a guy that you need in a playoff game or in a game for the division.
I agree. Moving to the NL East, the Mets are currently in first place at 11-5. I still just like the Phillies.
I like the Mets. I think the Mets are unbelievable. The Phillies, I think, are good offensively.
Yeah,
I don't know
that's
if the
fair.
pitching is there for them, but I just think that the Mets have spent enough money that they should be able to win this division.
Yeah, I think both of these teams are obviously going to the playoffs, but I think the Phillies are still the crown of that division until further notice. And it's more the Mets have to go reclaim that than
And the Braves are going to be right there, too.
Yeah.
I know they had a tough start to the season, but they are also very good.
5-11 right now.
I know, but that lineup can get hot.
Yes, very much so. And I think that the Marlins and the Nationals are going to be improved. Now,
They'll
I'm
be
not
better.
saying
They'll be
that-
better than they
yes.
were last year. They're not going to be as bad as they were last year, so I think there'll be more competition when it comes down to division games.
Agreed. I think we're both going to take the Cubs here in the NL Central.
Yes. But it's one of those things, too.
Who do you think's going to finish second in the division?
I think the Brewers.
I think it's going to be the Reds.
Maybe the Reds. I think the Cardinals are going to be at the bottom with the Pirates. I think the Cardinals are going to stink, and I hope they do stink. But you do see you don't play the division as much as you used to, so it's not like if the division's bad, you're going to play a bad team as much as you used to. You're not playing the Pirates a bunch of series and stuff like that. So they have made it to where just because if your division isn't good doesn't mean that you're going to have a good season.
Exactly. I agree. Moving into the NL West, like we talked about earlier, the best division in baseball. I know that you said the Dodgers were.
I think they're going to win it too.
Give me the Padres.
Maybe,
that team
but
is
I mean,
so good.
This Dodgers team is stacked.
So is this
the
Padres team.
It's going to be the best division in baseball easily.
I mean, just some of these names: Arias, Machado, Tatis, Bogarts. Even Gavin Sheets is hitting 333 right now. Jason Hayward, give or take.
But you look at like Freddie Freeman is technically struggling right now.
Yeah.
And the Dodgers are still in the spot that they are. They got Shohei. And
I knew what you meant.
Mookie Betts is kind of coming back from that. He had lost like 15 pounds at the beginning of the season because he got sick. Stuff like that. But the pitching is not as good as I thought it would be for them.
Yeah, it's taking some time.
The Cubs kind of exposed it a little bit.
Yep, just a little bit. I legitimately, this kind of sucks. I feel like if they can continue at this pace, 4 NL West teams should get into the playoffs. And I don't think anybody from.
That's why I think the Cubs have got to go out and win this division. You don't want to worry about the wild card because there'll be at least 2 other teams from the West that are going to be in that wild card spot, if not the other 3.
I think that the Giants are improved, but they have the biggest uphill battle to climb.
Yeah,
I think they have the worst roster in of those 3, but
they may have 3 of the top 5 teams in the NL in one division.
I agree. I do think that. I think you're 100% right. Those 3, I think the Cubs and the Mets.
The Cubs have taken advantage of how that their division is not very good right this second. They're all kind of other than the Cubs, they're all kind of right around 500. And you don't want to have to worry about a wild card spot because I just don't think that there'll be 2 teams from the Central.
Yep.
In the playoffs this year.
I agree. Let's go ahead. Let's move into the NBA playoff preview. We talked about it a little bit earlier with the Bulls being in the play-in game. Some things have changed a little bit since the top of the show. The Magic are only up 6 points now at the end of the third. Hawks beat them pretty handily there in the third quarter. So I'm going to switch. The Bulls are going to be playing the Magic.
So does that mean they have to go to either Orlando or to Atlanta, right?
Yes.
Because they have the one home game on Wednesday night. I really want the Bulls to get out of this. I want them to make the playoffs. It'd be awesome to see. But, man, that 1-2 in the East is just – I don't know who's going to beat the Celtics.
So let's go through here then.
The Celtics are 2, right?
The Celtics are the 2 seed.
So correct. They, I guess, would rather play the Cavs in a way.
Yeah,
I mean, the Cavs are very good.
Especially with the inexperience that the Cavs have.
But you just played the Cavs, I think, a few weeks ago, and it didn't go well.
No.
I think the only thing the Bulls are going to do is if they make the playoffs, they could win a game at home.
And I think that's true for all 4
I don't think that
play-in.
Any of these 4 teams that are in this play-in for the East have any chance
I completely
against the 1 and 2. I don't think anyone – maybe the Pacers. I don't think anyone else has a chance to compete in the East other than the Celtics and Cavs.
See, I could make arguments for the Knicks and the Bucks just
the
because
Knicks are
of Giannis.
Good and they were talking on the stretch the other day. The Knicks are where the Bulls want to be.
Yes.
But still, I think that the Celtics and Cavs are just so far ahead at this point that, I mean, they can make a series out of it, but I just don't see how it's not going to be Cavs, Celtics in the Eastern Conference Finals.
Well, let's slow down. We'll go ahead and assume that the 1 and 2 seeds get out of the first round, but our other first round matchups, the Knicks and the Pistons. I don't think this is going to be as big of a cakewalk for the Knicks.
No,
these
Pistons
are young and hungry.
Well. They're playing well, but is it just a little bit less experience against a lot of experience? Because the Pistons really good this year, but I just think that the Knicks have been there, done that, and they've been through tough series already. That this is kind of what the Pistons are. Going forward, they're going to be really good, but they can make it tough against the Knicks, but I just don't see them getting out of that series.
I think it's Knicks in 5, but it's going to be a really tough 5.
Which is awesome. And then we got the Bucks and Pacers.
Yes.
And I just think without Damian Lillard, the Pacers are going to win that series.
I think the Bucks are. Giannis is just a different animal.
But without Lillard, that's a different team, though. Yeah. And you've kind of seen it going down the stretch, and now they're the 5th seed. And not having home court advantage could be huge, too.
Yeah.
But I think that other than...
And Milwaukee beat them 3 out of 4 in the regular season.
The 1-8 and 2-7, I think that the East is going to be a really good first round.
I agree.
I think that the 1 and 2 are going to take over pretty easily. but I think those middle series are going to be really good.
Going back to the Knicks and the Pistons beat the Knicks 3 out of 4 this year.
But, I mean, Jalen Brunson has been hurt for quite a bit of it, and they're getting healthy now. Really, in the NBA, you want to look at the season matchups, but sometimes you got to see what was going on in the moment and who was playing. But yeah, and Giannis is going to have to take over for the Bucks to win. It's tough. Lillard may be back for the second round. They were saying maybe, but that is a tough shoes to fill.
Yep.
For the Bucks.
Now let's move into the West. The 1 and 2 seeds, Oklahoma City and Houston. Shout out Fred VanVleet. I still think this is completely different than the East because I could make an argument that whoever wins, I think we will see the Warriors and the Grizzlies get out of the play-in. The Kings and the Mavericks are just quite a bit farther behind those. But
and the Kings have kind of fallen off here at the end of the season.
Yep.
If you look at, just to kind of go for the Bulls, they have won that trade.
Oh, 100%.
Easily.
100%. So what my assumption is that Golden State will get Houston. That's not going to be an easy series for Houston at all.
I mean, they have Jimmy Butler. They got Steph Curry,
They've
Draymond
got
Green.
the experience.
They got the
that
experience.
Houston has none of.
No, but they got Jalen Green, who has been playing really well.
Yeah.
Fred VanVleet, who's been there, done that.
Yeah, that's true.
But it's also almost the same thing with the Pistons. The Rockets are going to be good going forward.
Young and dumb.
But do they have the experience?
Right. Yeah.
I don't know who's going to beat the Thunder. The Thunder are amazing.
They are, but they've shown the last couple years they just choke in the playoffs. And I don't think, assuming that it's Memphis or even Sacramento, that's not going to be an easy series for them.
No, but
either.
the experience is on their side. With that, though, because they've been in the playoffs the last few years. It's been kind of tough for them. But I just think that the experience is going to win out. And I know the Kings have, like, Zach LaVine. They have DeMar.
Yep.
But I think that OKC will at least make it through to the finals. Mm-hmm. But, yes, you are right, though. It's going to be tough. Because the Lakers are at 3.
Yep.
That's a
Lakers-Timberwolves.
tough team. You got Luka and LeBron in the playoffs. That's a different animal.
And I like the Timberwolves, but I don't think they have enough firepower to take the Lakers out. In that
no, they got themselves in a bad spot.
Yeah.
You got a Lakers team that has had to fight to get to that spot, and now that they're in the playoffs, it's go mode for Luka and LeBron. I mean, that's LeBron in the playoffs is different. Luka in the playoffs is just different. And you can play more minutes, stuff like that. You're not on like a minute restriction. They're both going to play a lot of the game.
And you saw Austin Reeves pick up some of that experience last year in the playoffs. Really
well. And that team has kind of really come together here the last few weeks. And to get that 3 seed is huge.
Well, and then I think the second round is where if I'm going to make an argument for OKC or Houston slipping up, it's going to be in that second round because then you got Denver and the Clippers who both had phenomenal seasons. But Denver, I would love to sit here and say Denver's going to take down, OKC, but they just fired their coach last week.
Will Jamal Murray be back?
I don't know.
Because that would be huge.
Yes. But at the end of the day, even if they don't, they still have a guy named
and they got Russell Westbrook, who's been in lots of tough games going back many years.
Yeah, played a lot. A good
he's
amount.
Played 17 seasons and no rings.
Yeah. Yep.
So I just think that that's also a very experienced team. And I think as much as we were like, what are they doing with the firing of the coach? I think that it's kind of put a spark underneath this team.
Yep.
And maybe it's helped them.
You've got to rally and
I think there was stuff going on internally that we didn't know about.
Big time.
And they've been playing better since that happened.
And to be honest, I don't think the Clippers are going to be an easy out for the Nuggets either.
No, and Jokic is a guy, triple-double machine.
Yes.
Who can take over games.
He's the best.
And like I said, playoffs are different because you're not on a minute restriction. You have multiple days off, stuff like that. So you're gonna play as much as you can.
This is going to be an incredible NBA playoff.
Yeah, if you really look at it, as much as we want to say that the East is top heavy, there's still good teams in the East. And the West is going to be awesome, too.
Big time. Right now, NBA Finals, who you got?
I have Thunder and Celtics.
I've got Lakers, Cavaliers. That'd be crazy. LeBron versus the Cavs.
I just don't think the Cavs have enough to beat the Celtics.
I hate Boston so
I know. I'm not a big fan either, but they're just so experienced and so good. And the Cavs just really got to have Mitchell play well.
What's your crazy, if you're picking an upset bracket?
I think Lakers would be my upset to be in it. I know that's crazy to say LeBron.
Knicks, Nuggets is mine.
I think Lakers, Rockets. Lakers, Pistons.
Ooh,
I think the Pistons can make a run.
Wild.
Because the Pistons are really good.
Isaiah Stewart trying to murder LeBron James in the NBA Finals.
But you know what I mean, though? It's like that team has made such a 180 this season.
Big time.
I think their odds to make the playoffs was like plus 1,400.
Yeah, I think so. Or 1,600 or something.
All-Star break, it was minus 1,000.
That's crazy.
I mean,
even though I do hate the Pistons.
They doubled their wins by the All-Star break.
Yeah.
Last season. But Cade Cunningham is going to have to go off.
Yeah.
And but I would think it'd be cool to see the Pistons and Lakers.
That would be really fun.
Maybe like a
like
series
1988 all over
bad.
again. Yeah, oh yeah, big time.
I just don't know if Jokic is going to be able to will his team all the way.
If there's anybody in the NBA that can do it, though, it's Nikola Jokic.
Or LeBron James.
Yeah.
I mean, I know he's 40 years old, and he has Luka. I mean,
how great would it be, though? I know everybody wants to see OKC and Houston. They're the up and coming teams. They want to see them in the Western Conference Finals. But how great would it be if we somehow get the Lakers and the Nuggets in the Western Conference Finals?
I just think that you didn't really show that much in the regular season, but having Luka and LeBron in the same team in the playoffs is going to be insane.
Yes.
2 of the top 5 players, maybe 2 of the top 3 or 4 players in the NBA playing at the same time in like I said, go mode. Like the NBA playoffs, you say what you want, they are different than regular season games.
Yep.
It's just how it goes.
Yep.
As much as people want to say that's what's wrong with the NBA, that's just what happens.
Absolutely.
And I think that LeBron and Luka it's going to be unstoppable.
I agree. Let's wrap things up. As always, we have the TCF top 3. We are doing announcers. Now, can we agree between the two of us, do we want to eliminate Chicago announcers? Because I feel like we could just sit. I don't have it too detailed
I only
a list.
have one.
All right. Do you want first pick or do you want?
I'll go first.
All right.
It's Jim Nantz.
Oh.
I'm going Jim Nantz. I mean, that Masters voice and just Jim Nantz in general, it's not even, it's just the voice.
Yeah.
Like you just recognize that voice. When you hear that voice, you know it's Jim Nantz.
And I agree with you, but when I think Jim Nantz, I think Final Four.
But that's the thing.
But
that's the Masters, Final Four. Those are 2 of the
football,
biggest sporting events in all of sports.
Yes.
And he's tied to both of them.
I completely agree. I am going to go. I'm not going to take any Chicago guys. We'll have tons of honorable mentions here at the end. But I'm going to go with John Madden. I grew up on John Madden. We all played Madden.
I didn't really watch that much football with him involved, but yeah, I do understand. I mean, he has a whole game named after him. I think he's pretty well known.
I think that's an easy one. My second pick, I'm also going to stay in football, though, still doing it to this day, Al Michaels.
Al Michaels is very good. I don't know if Al Michaels is ever going to retire.
I don't think Al Michaels might pass away in the booth. He's just going to do this forever.
That's awesome.
He is so good. When I literally saw his name on this and his voice clicked into my head. I started hearing the football games that he's done. How many Super Bowls and AFC, NFC champion? Like the guy is phenomenal. I think they said he's done like 6 Super Bowls maybe. That's crazy.
My second pick, if you hear the word bang, you know who it is. It's Mike Breen.
Yeah, that's a great one.
Unbelievable. I know it's mostly NBA, but when you get that double bang and you know something, and that voice is just, you're going to hear all playoffs.
Yep.
And
we can probably go 5 on this.
Yeah, but it's just one of those names that
Breen is one of the best.
The 4 names we have said, you know their names by their voice.
If there was, absolutely.
If there was, see them, you know their voice.
I think. Let's see if we can go with 5 for our top 5 here. But I think all 10 that are going to get picked, if there was an Announcers Hall of Fame, they would all be first ballots.
So I'm going to go 5?
Yep. So you've got...
I'm going to go Chicago here. I'm going to go Steve Stone.
Ooh, not who I thought you would take.
I really love Steve Stone.
Yeah, I was a big Steve Stone guy.
I think he's got that perfect voice. He's got the perfect attitude, and he knows baseball.
Yeah, and he does have a little bit enough. Like we talk about it a million times. Like,
well, I guess
you want to have
the name that you think. I didn't even think of.
But the name that I'm thinking of, you were very young when he stopped doing it.
Oh well, I was thinking of the guy doing it now.
Oh, no, I was not thinking that. But we should both have that on our list. My third round pick, because I'm such a college basketball freak, I've got to go with Dickie V.
Yeah. I mean that voice is.
He's a diaper dandy.
You have to have the voice.
Yeah, and he's got
one thing to have
the
energy and like that, but the voice along with the energy,
yep.
and the sayings,
yep.
and stuff like that. I mean that's a great one.
My fourth round pick, I'll do it. I'll go Pat Hughes. I will take a Chicago guy.
Pat
Hughes is a legend.
And he's still to this day. I mean, like you said, you turn on the Cubs radio just for that voice.
Oh, 100%.
I'm gonna go with one that people may not like him, but he's great. Joe Buck.
Joe Buck's phenomenal.
You say what you want about him, but he does the big games for a reason.
And not even that. Like, he's shown since podcasting has gotten big, he has shown that, like, there's really no reason to hate Joe Buck.
And also, like, there's a lot of guys who get jobs because their dads were announcers.
Well, not even that. Like, his dad was not.
But what you see is he got it for a reason.
Yes.
He's still doing it. He's still doing big games. He calls the World Series. And like, when he came back to call baseball this year, it was a big deal. That doesn't always happen. And I think Joe Buck, and he's one of those guys that have that great voice that that's Joe Buck.
Joe Buck's phenomenal. That's a great pick.
I don't know if he's an announcer. That's the thing. Would you consider Bruce Buffer an announcer?
No.
Okay. I'll go with
That's a great pick.
I'll go with John Gruden. John Gruden was the way he talked was great.
Yeah.
I think that, and he did it for a short enough time that you couldn't get annoyed with him. I think maybe over a long period of time you could, but I just think the way that he also just loved the game.
Yeah, you can tell that he enjoys.
I wouldn't say it's even just the voice. It's what he knew about football. It's the passion.
Yep.
It's that, like, he didn't care who was playing. He just wanted to see a good football
game.
Yes. And that's kind of the same thing with Joe Buck. He has his teams, but he calls games fair. Whatever you want to say.
I will say this about Joe Buck. If Joe Buck didn't have so many ties to the St. Louis Cardinals, I don't think I'd ever say a bad word about it. That's my only complaint about Joe Buck.
People always say, oh, he likes the Cardinals. Well, yeah, everyone has their favorite teams.
Yeah.
Harry Carey was whatever, this and that. But to be a national broadcast announcer and be able to do that is not easy.
Yep. My final pick, I'm torn between two legends, and I know you're probably not going to like this, but going back to the college basketball, I would specifically stay up for late night West Coast games to listen to this man call games. Bill Walton.
Yeah,
I have to do it.
Any problem with Bill Walton? It's just that some of the side tangents he would go off were kind of crazy. But he had that voice. He loved the game of basketball.
He loved life.
He wasn't really calling the game of basketball. He was calling the game of life.
It's almost like if you turned on a basketball game and put a podcast in.
But
you know what I mean?
All the stuff that people would sometimes get annoyed with him. But then when he passed away and he wasn't there anymore, people missed him.
Yep.
It's one of those voices that you miss a guy like that because a lot of these announcers are so buttoned up.
Yes.
They go by the books. He didn't go by no book. He went by his life. He did what he wanted to do.
Yep.
He confused the other guy, which is kind of funny to see sometimes.
Who was his partner that he Dave, the bald guy he always did West Coast games with?
Well, he used to do it with the guy who used to call the White Sox games. Now does the Tigers.
Benetti.
Yeah, Benetti used to do a lot of games with him. But yeah, Bill Walton is a great. It's one of those. It's an iconic voice. I mean, he had an iconic playing career, and then he got into. And it's just also
Dave Pash.
Yeah, he did West Coast games, which you're staying up late. You'd fall asleep to that. You'd be high just listening.
Oh yeah. We got to go honorable mentions here. It is kind of criminal that we didn't include Vin Scully.
Oh yeah, but that's Brewers.
No. You're thinking Bob Uecker. Vin Scully is Dodgers.
Never mind, I'm sorry. But
Bob Uecker as well.
Another one.
I almost more associate Bob Uecker. This is how much
Major League.
Major League, yeah.
But it's also just they were hometown teams.
Oh, yeah.
They weren't national broadcasts, really. You know what I mean?
But Vince Scully ended up doing World Series.
I know, but you know what I mean.
The Dodgers.
He still did Dodgers games throughout the season.
Yeah.
He didn't like do ESPN, Fox, stuff like
Right.
that. A lot of these guys do multiple sports too.
Yes. I in the game right now, I know you don't like him. I think Boog is phenomenal.
I like Boog
As a national guy.
I want more of a homer.
Yes. And in that same breath, Harry Carey as an announcer for the Cubs was phenomenal. But if you weren't Ron Santo, Hawk Harrelson.
Yeah,
if you're talking about homers, I mean, Hawk Harrelson left the announcing booth one night to go check to see was it Adam Eaton if he was okay.
Yeah. And like our grandpa would pause or mute the sound on the TV, which was ahead of the sound on the radio.
Yep.
Or the radio was ahead of the TV.
Yes,
which was
that's
one
what
of the
it
other
was.
to listen to Ron Santo only, just to watch the game in bull.
What are some other big?
But yeah, those those guys who we're Cubs fans. We probably weren't fans of Hawk Harrelson because he was such a homer. But if you're a White Sox fan, you love that. You got to, and that's what I kind of want with I thought the marquee would go more that way, but it seems like because he works for ESPN, he really can't be as homer as you want him to.
Who's the one? Holly Rowe, a big fan of hers. Who's the other female announcer for ESPN?
Doris Burke.
Doris Burke
yes.
is great. There's so many we could go down.
Doris Burke is somebody you hear her voice and you know exactly who it is.
Yes. Let us know who we missed. There's
probably plenty of people we missed. Len Casper. He was another one, but that's local.
Yep.
Stuff like that.
I
a lot
think
of these guys, like Steve Stone, I probably wouldn't have picked him if I was not a Cubs fan or listen to the White Sox.
Did you know that Mike Breen is the announcer for the Knicks home game, or the Knicks? Like, he doesn't just do...
Yeah, but he does, a lot of the ESPN games, right?
Obviously...
TNT.
Yeah, I think it's TNT. And he does ESPN, I think. Local guys, Stacey King. Stacey King's the best.
He can be a lot, but
he is a lot. But how many? I mean, in your brain,
Adam and Mean is also
Adam
overall,
Mean's very good.
He does multiple sports too, which is really fun to see.
Just some of give me the hot sauce. Like, there's so many of those Derrick Rose years just burned in my head.
Since Derrick Rose is playing, so you're doing a pretty good job if you're still doing it.
Absolutely. Give me.
Who does the radio for the Bulls?
It's not Sam Smith. I'm looking it up right now. Radio announcer.
That's a voice that you...
Chuck Swirsky. Love Chuck Swirsky. I love him for the dances.
Yeah, but
the
voice
Twitter
on the radio,
dance.
he has a voice for radio.
100%. Chuck does a phenomenal job. Let us know who we missed. That is going to do it.
Good Time Patty Boyle. Also a great announcer. Pat
Who?
Boyle.
Oh, Pat Boyle. Yep. And Eddie O.
Yeah, those were also great ones.
Boyle was he's not still doing it anymore, is he?
Boyle is, I think, with the Seattle Kraken.
Good for him.
Well, yeah, because the Blackhawks let him go, which is the stupidest.
Yeah.
The Blackhawks.
I was a big Eddie O fan.
Yeah, I just think that.
But again, it's because when the Blackhawks are, those voices are just burned into our brains, from when we watched.
It was either Pat. Yeah, I think he went to the Kraken. They let somebody go to the Kraken.
Yeah, I think you're right. Pat Boyle. He's not a YouTuber. Anywho, it doesn't matter. That's it for us. This is episode 254. Make sure you check out our friends at Connect Roasters, connectroasters.com. Get yourself some good coffee. Maybe you'll win a gold glove like Ian Happ does. You can find us on X at @typical_Chicago, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. Make sure you give us a follow there. I'm posting an Illinois or Chicago history video every day. I'm going to record tomorrow's when we're done recording right now. So make sure you like those pages.
Make sure you check those out because sometimes he has to dig deep for those.
Today is April 15th as we record this, and it was John Danks' birthday. Zach didn't even know who John Danks was.
Well, there was
bad White Sox fan.
Well, yeah, because I'm not a White Sox fan. A lot of Danks.
Yeah. So make sure you find us on TikTok, Typical Chicago Fan. On there. We are on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe there for all of our content in video form. Wherever you get your podcasts, we are there as well. So subscribe, rate, review, 5 stars, and tell a friend wherever you get your podcast. You can find me on X at BoomyTCF. Zach over here at ZLilia TCF. We'll be back next week with a full breakdown of the NFL draft. the NBA playoffs, the NHL playoffs. We didn't talk hardly any hockey today, but we'll get into that next week. And that's going to be it. That was episode 254 of Typical Chicago Fans. We love you all.
Peace.